Hey, my loves. I'm just about to work out and I felt called to come on here and do a Facebook Live because I feel like this is such a deeply important topic, and it's one that's not talked about. But because of my background as I used to be a registered psychologist, and so I works a lot with relationships, and I works with trauma. And what I'm really noticing as a theme that comes up when some of my clients and what I'm hearing, sometimes it's with women in business who are my friends, I'm really hearing there's lots of triggers that happen in business relationships or in personal life. And of course, all of this, it's all around relationships and toxic relationships that on the conscious, many people aren't aware of why they are having an emotional and bodily, sensation-wise overreaction to the actual situation at hand. So for me, what I'm really clear about is oftentimes, hey, Lisa, so here's the thing. Every single event is neutral until we put meaning to it. And how do we do that? We do that with our own belief systems, right? And so we also then, since that's true, our belief systems are based on our experiences and how we make meaning of that based on, again, our belief systems. And so if, for example, in today's, let's say you are a woman in business and you're a professional in a corporate world, and you get really triggered by your boss or by a coworker, a fellow lady boss, whoever that is, and like for whatever reason, this person, you really don't like them. So there could be several things, but I want to emphasize on the, hey, Corey, oh my gosh. Hey, Shauna, I want to emphasize, hey, yes, sir. Look at all my peeps coming on. That perhaps just go back to yourself and go, who does this person remind me of? Or what does this relationship remind me of? And oftentimes it goes back to a previous relationship that's probably more intimate, personal. So perhaps you were bullied when you were young and you feel like your current relationship with your boss or with a fellow colleague feels that way, and you're being triggered into your belief system, your traumatic experiences back then, and it's evoking now. Okay. Perhaps you were in an abusive relationship, whether it's emotional abuse, physical abuse, maybe you were sexually assaulted. And even though you may have dealt with some of that, sometimes because we're onion layers, we have residue that comes up. And so this toxic relationship might be bringing up some of that shit again. And so be mindful and aware of why you're being triggered and what this relationship reminds you of, and that you're probably going into that whole traumatic pattern of behaviors again. And it doesn't feel okay, but I want you to know there's no shame in this. It's just that was part of your experience. And now this means, like on a beautiful level, you get to evolve right now. You get to go and see that you can let this go. And how do you do that? Well, I would highly recommend working with a coach who specializes, or a therapist who specializes in relationships and trauma. I'd be happy to help and help you process some of this stuff, Because let's face it, you can't do it on your own. Like when my shit comes up, there's no fucking way I would do it on my own. Because here's the thing, we get wounded in relationship. It only makes sense that you heal in relationship. And that relationship needs to be one that's safe and supportive, and having a professional who's trained and can see things more from an objective perspective is going to support you as that starting relationship to find safety in this, to release and let go, and to come back in and into your powerful self that was already in there, to learn the lessons you're supposed to learn on this layer. So on this level. And sometimes we're not ready back then to really hear what we're supposed to hear. And we need that time to now you're ready. Now you're ready. And never do we ever feel right, by the way. Okay? And when you don't deal with your shit and you just sweep it under the carpet, guess what? It's going to come out, and it's going to come out in ways that you do not want it to come out. It's going to leak out. It's going to project out. It's exhausting, and it's draining, and it's traumatic, and it get you into a contracted place. Another example is perhaps you have a really hard time saying no. Right? You have a really hard time saying no to people and working with people who are not a good fit. You might tend to people please, and that might be because and this happened for one of my clients, is they realized it was because they were in a relationship where they compromised themselves so much, and it was a very traumatic relationship, and this person unfortunately took their, not the client, but the partner had taken their life. So trauma, right? And so unconsciously she had tied it to this, and now it comes out in this form of, I can't set boundaries. Now that's been released and let go. And as long as we acknowledge something, that's the first thing, is awareness, acknowledge, then it's time to process. You need that process, okay? Without process in a safe professional relationship, it's really hard to be able to shift that. So make sure you're working with somebody who is trained to do experiential work, which means working on a body level, not just talk level, all right? Because that's not, to be honest, is not enough. You need to process things on a deep, deep, deep body level. So I hope that's helpful. And, PM me if you have questions. I know this is a very sensitive topic. I'm happy to help. If you feel called to work with me to process any of this stuff, and it's a mutual fit, I'm happy to help. All right? And sending so much love and light to you guys. Please feel free to share this, because this is such a sensitive and yet deeply important and under talks about topic, because there's so much shame around it. So if you guys share this, I would be deeply grateful. Thanks, loves.